Hey everyone! Today I have a very popular Voltron Legendary Defender theory to explain, and despite seeming strange at first, it might actually be true. What if Keith was an alien? To be exact, many believe that he is half Galra. For those who have not seen the show, but may be interested in watching it, Voltron Legendary Defender is a new show on Netflix by DreamWorks. It is a reboot of the series Voltron Defender of the Universe, which aired in 1984. The original series was actually adapted from the anime Beast King Go Lion, so the series has a really interesting history. Unlike many other reboots, this one lived up to the hype and has a lot in store for its fans when Season 2 comes out, assuming it eventually does. Like I said before, today I'll be talking about the possibility that Keith, the Red Paladin, is actually part alien. Out of all the characters, Keith is the one with the most questions about who he is and what he did in the past. As his description says in the official Voltron website, he has been alone for a long time, and was orphaned at a young age. This means he really never had a family to call his own, and could be part of the reason for his behavior, although there are likely some other factors at play. I think it'll be very interesting to learn how he became an orphan in the first place, and what that reveals about his past. Keith being different than the other humans of the show has been seen since the first episode. His lion, which was all the way on a Galra ship in outer space, was able to connect to him and told him to search.
It's like some energy was telling me to search.
This was before he knew about the lions or what any of this could mean. But not only could he sense his own lion, he could also sense the energy from the other lions without the use of tools. This is what brought him to the cave where the blue lion was before, although he did not make progress until Lance was there with him. And Lance could not even sense the blue lion until he was in the cave where it was found. This means that either Keith has a stronger connection to the lions than any of the other paladins, or he has abilities that normal humans do not. Perhaps aliens react more to quintessence than humans, which is something I will expand more on later. Going back to the original location of the red lion, it should be noted that it was found on a Galra ship and not elsewhere like the rest of the lions. Then, looking at Keith's dagger, it's pretty unique looks-wise. However, the most interesting fact about it is that the hilt is covered up. Maybe if it is unwrapped, it'll look more like a Galra weapon. He was also examining it in episode 2 before he had to get out of bed, alluding to a possible significance of the weapon. It's not only his weapon that may have a connection to Galra kind. In fact, his eyes are kind of purple, which is the color of the skin and fur of the Galra. In addition, none of the other human characters have too unusual of eye colors. Moving on, next up is Keith's relationship with alien technology. If it was not due to the quintessence in the lion as the reason Keith could sense it, then perhaps it was the fact that this was alien technology, and he, being an alien, can sense and do things humans cannot naturally. In fact, he was able to sense the ship that held Shiro when it landed. Shiro is the only one confirmed to have a connection to the Galra, as his right arm is made of Galra technology. This innate connection Keith has to almost anything Galra led him to find Shiro. I wonder if this works in the reverse way, and the Galra could sense Keith in some fashion and find him if they wanted to. Moving on, it was seen many times in the show that Shiro's hand was the key to using Galra technology. This worked because his hand was made with alien material. And other aliens with a connection to the Galra shared its ability to use scanners which humans cannot. But who else do we see put their hand on a scanner that works? Keith. This is something he can naturally do without any enhancements to his body like Shiro's arm. One other thing that he is naturally able to do is fight like a Galra soldier. This line was said by Zarkon, who is a Galra, so he definitely knows what he is talking about.
You fight like a Galra soldier.
This line is a pretty popular piece of evidence, and because it is so straightforward, not much explaining is needed. So he may fight like an alien, but even the way he acts could be seen as unusual. We can see that Keith does not understand many of the customs and idioms that humans have. Either he is not used to these human concepts, or his brain just functions differently. This could be due to him living by himself for a long time, as could a lot of the points I make in this theory, but it could go either way, and hopefully this is all eventually explained. Although the one thing that is for sure is that his temperament can be compared to the Galra. It is what got him kicked out of school in the first place. It is also possible that his brain allows him to naturally understand technology that humans cannot. He seems to know to put his hand on his scanner while Lance is having a hard time understanding everything because it is in an alien language.
Whoa, how'd you do that?
I just put my hand on the handprint.
His reaction to other things is also very interesting. In the first episode, Keith spends a really long time staring at the Galra symbol the first time he sees it. This was not the best moment to be doing so, but perhaps it reminded him of his past. Speaking of his past, many speculate that he may have a familial connection to a Galra we saw. In the final episode of the season, we see that a Galra soldier helps the Voltron team escape. This seems completely random, but if this alien has a connection to Keith, it is possible that he wanted to help him out. Some think that the Galra we saw was actually Keith's father, which would make things really interesting. Or it could just be that this Galra was always secretly on the side of the Paladins. Finally, I want to talk about the most exciting, yet puzzling piece of evidence. This is of course when Keith gets his hand damaged from the Galra magic used by Hagar. In a confrontation, she hits him with lightning, making his hand appear burned. The most notable thing about his wound is that it is purple and not red like a normal burn. But when a container of quintessence splashes onto Keith's hand, he is almost instantly healed. It is true that we have not seen other humans interact with the quintessence substance on this level, with the exception of Shiro's hand, although this probably does not count as human in the first place. Even though quintessence isn't everything and is responsible for the bond between the Lions and the Paladins, this type of quintessence seems a bit different. I'm talking about what we see in those huge containers, which may be unlike the quintessence that connects each pilot to their respective lion. So it is possible that this would work in healing all beings, and it could have similar effects on both humans and aliens. But we do know that Galra have a positive reaction when they are in contact with this substance. Quintessence is part of the reason why Zarkon has been able to live for over 10,000 years. But it was the fact that his hand turned purple like the color of a Galra that makes things interesting. Perhaps the attack corrupted the quintessence in his hand, revealing what he would look like as a Galra, but was later healed by the normal quintessence. Also, it is very suspicious that his right hand was the one with that damage. This parallels Shiro's right arm, which is now made of Galra technology. Speaking of the right arm, Keith is also the right arm of Voltron, which, like I said before, is the location of Shiro's Galra tech hand. All this evidence has been pointing to the conclusion that Keith is half Galra. But it is entirely possible that he is half Altean, although there is far less evidence for this. In the original series, there were Arusians instead of Alteans. In that series, it turned out that Keith was part Arusian. Applying this logic to the new series would mean that Keith would be Altean. Bringing this over into the reboot would create a really cool connection between the two shows. Either way, it'd be quite extraordinary to see this theory come true, especially since it may be hard to believe initially. I want to know your thoughts about this theory, and about the Voltron reboot. Was this show as good as you thought? Are you excited to see more? And are there any other Voltron theories you want to see me cover? Tell me in the comments. And thanks once again to my Patreon supporters. Also, please check out Cartoon Universe's Tumblr and Twitter pages. Don't forget to follow us so you can see what we are up to on a daily basis. From there, you can also find my personal Tumblr and Twitter, so if you want to see what I reblog or talk about, or you just want to ask me a question, give me a follow. Thanks for watching!